Out of the four guys that you see on the screen right now, one is promoting the biggest talk of the town if you're a Kiss fan. One has been on Broadway, TV, on tour with Kiss, plays with Eric Martin from Mr. Big, and one has an Oscar. And then there's me, the underachiever. Today, you're going to find out who has an Oscar on Podcast Rock City Live.
Podcast Rock City.
What's up, everybody? Joe here from Podcast Rock City, and with me this week is Mr. Joey Casada.
Yo! What's up, boys? How are you?
We're doing very well. Mr. PRC Brent, what's up? You gotta unmute.
I'll get the hang of this eventually.
Okay, that's all right. So Brent's here with us, and then that guy down there, Mr. Neil Davis. Neil, how you doing?
Good. So last time I saw you guys, Brent was sitting exactly in that chair. Where I look right
It's
now.
what I do.
It's what I do. Since I talked last 2 months ago. Have you been there the whole time? Because that chair looks so comfy. I don't think you ever want to get up off of it.
You know, I think you missed the episode I was on after that. I actually busted out my, Sherlock Holmes pipe and lit it up. And so, yeah. No, actually, I've been in Chicago for a week. So, no, I have not been sitting in the chair.
Okay.
But I'm glad to be home, and now I'm sitting in it again. So
absolutely. So we have a ton to talk about. Neil is obviously here to talk about Creatures Fest, but he's going to hang out with us for the whole show, and we're going to discuss a very controversial topic that I put up on our Facebook page. It's the anniversary of Destroyer, and the topic that we're going to talk about the record, of course, but my question was, is it really as great as everybody says it is? I'm going to tell you guys what you said online on our Facebook page. But before we do that, I made a little tease. So Joey's been on Broadway. Joey's had his own TV show. Joey's opened for Kiss on tour. He's touring. He tours with Eric Martin. He's played with Chris Jericho. He's done all this stuff. Neil,
please don't leave out that he wrote a great book.
Oh, yeah, he's a multi-author and
yes.
a professional wrestler. Okay, and then we've got Neil, whose Creatures Fest is coming up in just a little over 2 months now.
Wait,
And
Creatures Fest? What's that? I haven't heard anything about that. Is it?
Yeah, fill me in. Is that going to be a big deal? I don't know.
I don't. No one's talking about that. I haven't heard anything.
Exactly. It's going to be one of the biggest things I've ever attended in my life. And then we've got Brent there, who really does have an Oscar.
You know, Joe, this is a great way to set up the show, but give me more than 10 minutes notice so I could actually have it for all the skeptics and prove it.
Now, wait, are we talking about like an award or like Oscar the Stallone movie DVD? What are we talking about?
I have an Oscar the Grouch stuffed animal. That's what it is.
I want to hear more about this Oscar. Tell me, Brent.
In the trash can. It's a long, dumb story, but basically I was heavily involved in all the soundtrack work and music placement for the film The Hurt Locker from I guess about 12 years ago. And when I got involved with it, it was actually pitched to me as a tiny little movie that they were trying to get on the film festival circuit, but that they needed to work with the music before they even began shooting the rest of what they were going to be shooting. And so I worked on the music for that with them. And it became a huge part of the film, almost like a character in the film. For the people who know it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, that it sort of represented the rage side of this guy who had an incredibly impossible job. And, who knew that at that time, that was a film that was going to go on to be nominated for 10 Oscars and win 7 of them, and just make such a huge explosion, maybe the wrong term to use.
Good point.
Describing the Hurt Locker. That's where I was going, but I decided to maybe not say a huge explosion. But yeah, so I'm playing it down. I'm actually super proud of my involvement in it, because it wasn't just 1 or 2 emails. There was a lot of work that was really ongoing with the whole thing, even all the way up through the time of the build up to the Oscars and the home video release and everything else. So it was great.
You do not have the Oscar within arm's reach at all times. Are you out of your mind?
It's
I would have it next to me at all times. Oh, here it is.
It's at my parents' house for a party.
They're having an Oscar party, and they, hey, look, this is my son's Oscar.
It's tradition that's where it goes every year for this.
I'm not even gonna lie. Hey, Joey, do you have an Oscar?
I'm working on it, Joe. God damn it! I'm working on it.
I want you to have an Oscar.
He's actually accomplished something. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, so Neil is here, and this is very important because he shocked the people. He shocked the world with a huge announcement a few weeks ago, and then he shocked the people with another announcement, and we're going to talk all about it right now on the news.
Podcast Rock City News.
Okay, so Neil, you're the main promoter. Is that right? Is that how I should give you your title? You got it now. Of Creatures Fest. You blew everybody's mind when you had Vinnie Vincent, Ace Frehley, Bruce Kulick, all on the same bill, along with a whole bunch of other bands that we all grew up loving. But now, a few weeks ago, you added Peter Criss, okay? And that was, everybody went, whoa, okay? And then his autographs, meet and greets went on sale. Gone. They're gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're gone, okay?
Yeah.
Then, I guess, was it last week? I think you made the announcement that Ace and Peter are going to perform a song together?
Correct.
That is unbelievable. How? Okay. So is this, did you call them and go, hey, I think this would be a great idea? Or did they call you and go, hey, Ace and I talked?
Well, we were all 3 hanging out having dinner together last week. I'm kidding. We weren't. So,
I was about to fall out of your favorite chair.
Yeah.
No offense, but that blows away the Oscar story, like right out of the water.
Yeah.
No doubt.
The first, thank you, Robert Dunning, for the nice comment. I'm reading your comments as you were speaking. And
cool.
Somebody else was from Australia. Anthony. Sometime during this discussion, I'm going to share a little news about something Australian related, but we'll get to it in a few minutes. But and so listen, as I say all the time, like everybody on this podcast listening, we're Kiss fans. I'm nothing but a Kiss fan. Was a Kiss fan from a very early age, 11 or 12, saw Kiss for the first time when I was 14, have seen them hundreds of times since then. And so it's always been a big part of my life. So, and the first show I saw was Dynasty. So with the original 4, I've been really lucky to be able to work with Ace in the past. So, it's a thrill, but I've done that before. I've worked with Bruce before. I've worked with Vinnie. I've actually never met Peter Criss. He's the I've never been to a meet and greet. I've seen him in concert, but I've never hi, Peter, I'm Neil. And I actually spoke to the Criss family last year about doing some other events together, and it wasn't the right time, but we had a very nice rapport. And so I reached out to them about this initially, and it just they were thinking about it, and Peter is shared that he's recovering from knee surgery right now, so they weren't sure whether or not they wanted to schedule anything, and but we talked quite a bit, and then they made the decision that he was going to come. And I remember talking to them, and they said, well, what would you like him to do? And I thought, first off, if he's just there, you start off, he might come. I'm going, whoa. I'm going, if he's just there, if he's in the room, that's a win for me. And they go, what would you like him to do? And I said, well, it'd be great if he came and, sign some autographs, and I guess it'd be kind of cool if he played something. But if he just shows up and so forth, they go, okay, well, what if he came and played? I'm going, well, that'd be great. So, and they said, but let us think a little bit, because we still got to make sure we want to do it. And we talked and talked and talked, and they came back and said, we want to do it, Neil. We talked about it, and we spent a lot of time talking. And they're very, Peter and his wife are very interested in understanding who they're working with, what's happening, and making sure they it just feels like the right fit for them. And when at some point they made a decision, it was they just the enthusiasm. They said, what do you think about him playing? I'm going, I think it'd be great. He goes, what do you think if he played the drums? So first off, if Peter Criss just came up and sang, I know you always would say that's great. And that's awesome. I was like, I'm not being greedy. I thought if he came out and sang a song, and I figured Beth or Hard Luck Woman is what they threw up at first, just easy softball songs. And they go, what if he came up and like played a couple songs and played drums? I'm going, oh my God. I go, yeah, I think it'd be great. And I'm trying to act cool and stuff. Oh, it'd be fine, stuff like that. And it was really their idea. And they go, what do you think if we played with Ace? I go, oh, I think that'd be pretty cool. They go, do you want to reach out to Ace, or should I call him myself? I go, I'm busy. You give him a call and stuff. And so, this happened over time. But they really got bought into it, and they got excited about it. And it was really, they talking about, wouldn't this be fun to do for the fans? And I think if I did anything right, is that I said over and over again, this is, I'm not Live Nation. I'm not a promoter. I'm a Kiss fan putting on an event that other Kiss fans want. That's all I am. And I articulated that over and over again. I said, this is, we're deadly serious about putting on a good event, but this is only because we want this. And I say this often is, if someone said, why don't you put together a Motley Crue fest? I'd say, absolutely not. I'd go to it, but I wouldn't put it on. There's only one band I'd put on events for, because it's so time consuming. It's Kiss. And to me, we started off, you said, with Vinnie Vincent, and then Ace and Bruce. When we first started off, we had the 3 guitarists. I thought, wow, can't get any better than that. And then we added Peter, and it just seemed like the energy, which was at 98%, went to 150%. And you were joking about people, hey, I haven't heard anything about it. I was talking to some a couple weeks ago. They said we were at the whiskey in Los Angeles. Everyone's around the bar talking about it. I was talking to someone in Australia. They go, everyone's talking about it in Australia. And we've got a lot of people. I say a lot. We've got a group of people from every different country around the world. So we talked to them, and they said everyone's talking about it in Spain and wherever else they're coming from as well. And again, to me, it's great because I think it validates what we all want. We love the band, and it's a chance to see the people that are very important to all of us. Long answer to your short question, but it's a
this is going to be amazing. Have you talked to Peter after his surgery? How is he doing?
No, I got a text message from his wife. She said he's doing great. And knee surgery. I live in Florida, there are a lot of retirees. There's a lot of knee surgeries, and shoulders and hips. So I know a lot of people have gone through it. So, but it's still surgery, and so they're like everything. You're nervous. Just how's it going to go? Is there going to be problems? And she wrote me right afterwards, said it went great. He's feeling fantastic, and he's out of the hospital doing rehabilitation right now and resting, and which is great news, just because we care about our idols. And also I want him to have a speedy recovery because I know we all want to see him in a couple months. Absolutely. Brent?
Yes.
You have any questions? I know in your head you have something.
Well, actually, I have something I want to say rather than a question. All
okay,
right.
Go ahead.
And so that is talking about the other bomb that Neil dropped. And is that all right to get into that now, or are we waiting on that?
Oh, I don't know. What was the other? Oh, yeah. No, go ahead. Yes. Okay. Yes. I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
So
Neil looks worried. Hold on. Neil looks
no.
worried.
Neil knows. No, Go ahead.
He's good.
Yeah.
But
before we do that, can I tell you guys something, the coolest thing ever as a Kiss
go
fan?
ahead.
Please.
So 2 weeks ago, I'm on the phone with Peter's wife, and we're talking, and he goes, "Hey, let me go downstairs." He goes, "You want to hear Peter drumming? He's drumming right now." I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Going down there." And she held the phone for like 5 minutes. He's doing like a drum solo and stuff like that. I'm going, because she went down. She goes, "Peter." She goes, "Petey." She goes, "Neil's on the phone. Drum for him." She goes, "Hey, Neil." Starts. That's my Peter Criss imitation. I'm not very good, but he's going away like that. I go, again, I'm thinking I'm the 16-year-old or 14-year-old kid watching kids. I go, Peter Criss is there drumming away, and playing for Neil. He's drumming anyways. But as a Kiss fan, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like just incredible experience. So
that is amazing.
And I tell you that he's really, really excited about doing this. I know he wants his knee to be better so he can drum. And he was down there practicing away. He sounded great. I've heard different things about his drumming capacity. He sounded fabulous. He was good as I've ever heard him drum.
The thing I loved most about what you said in your last few statements was when you said, you're talking to Peter and his family, and he felt like he wanted to do it for the fans, to get up there, play drums, play with Ace. That's what this is all about. It's not about, listen, I'm sure they're already going to make money on the event. They're going to sell autographs. They're going to sell, stuff, but they didn't have to go the extra mile to play together. They didn't have to go the extra mile to practice and get these songs ready, whatever songs they're going to do. But they know how much that will mean to people like us. And they're going to go that extra mile. And, they're going to put themselves out there because you know what? If they stink, it's going to be all over the place. If Peter's hurting, it's going to be all over the place. They know they're professionals. They're going to give us what we want rather than, I hate to say it, the same old garbage every day.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's really going to be one of those amazing experiences. Seeing Peter, I was at his last show in New York, and when he was done, I was emotional about it because I was like, I've been following this gentleman for my entire life. And I understand that's not my entire life, but pretty much my entire life. I was able to get his solo record because he was the safe kitty cat guy and my mom didn't freak out. And, and I listened to that record and I love that record. And despite what some of my friends might say, but there's always that battle, but Peter Criss is such a big deal in my life. And I have so many memories about Peter Criss that when I see him get on a stage, even if he just sat on a stool and sang something while Ace played acoustic guitar, for real.
Yeah.
Just to give us that moment. Exactly right.
Yeah. Well, it's a good point. He could have come down and again, I would have been happy if he'd done this. Just come down, done meet and greets, and they get paid for the meet and greets and stuff. He could have done that, and I would have been thrilled that we had him there. And it was really, and I wasn't even going to push these because you're talking about New York. I'd always heard him say he's not really going to play anymore. He's not going to perform. So I didn't want to say something wrong or push something and them going, well, he's not doing that. And they just said, this would be really great. And playing for the fans. And, they made a comment talking about it is that, this is an event that's just really for Kiss fans. I mean, there's some other great bands there and we're happy to have them. But when you break it all, this is a Kiss event, and we got some other amazing bands, and people that are coming to it are coming for the Kiss factor, and they want to be a part of that, and we should all really feel great about that because name 10 other bands out there that you like, they aren't really that worried about coming to a fan put on event to perform for them.
No, they're not. Go ahead, Brent. Hit them with the other big news.
Well, I was just say, we're so thankful that you're out there on the front lines putting this together, making this possible because it's super exciting. And just like you've had those mind-blowing moments along the way that you could never have anticipated, never expected, where it's like, wow, I'm sitting here on my cell phone and listening to Peter practice drums in his basement or whatever, right? Or in his studio. You're going to provide those exact same moments for hundreds of people at this event who are going to, I mean, we're talking a lot about Peter or Ace, or I mean, even if it's a chance to see Bruce and his band play those songs, up close like that in that really personal environment. There's so much happening, and and it's going to be kind of, I think, a revelation to everybody, no matter which guitarist you're into or what you're interested in. We're all going to have some of those moments we just never expected to have. And for me, I'll say, I think, well, Joe and I were there together when a lot of the other Podcast Rock City guys, when Vinnie returned to the scene, and he was there, and we heard him talk and play some acoustic. And when it was over, everyone was like, okay, that was great. Where do you go from here? And for all of us, our hope was the guy would eventually do two things. Number one, play an electric show with a full band, come out and shred. Okay. And number two, that he'd put together a new album. Well, Neil, I mean, I think you're going to deliver on both those fronts, right? So that was some pretty amazing news, that not only is there going to be an electric Vinnie show with a band, but that he has a new record, and you've had some part in helping him put that all together, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, and it is going to be cool, and I know the comments that you're referring to, and he's performed acoustic, he's played electric, but didn't play lead. I mean, I'm aware of those comments. He has been doing a lot of his own private shows where he plays for an hour. All he does is shred, and a lot of people don't believe that those things actually happen.
That's just different than this circumstance.
Yeah. So, but I've seen him play, and then he had his first rehearsals with the band 3 weeks ago, I think, three weeks ago. And then they're coming up again week after next. And I was there at that one. I'm not going to be at all of them. And they're all playing stuff. And, it was primarily from the Lick It Up and Creatures of the Night era. They jammed a couple other songs everybody knew, just kind of to break the ice. I think they played Cold Gin just to warm up, I don't know, before they got into some of the stuff. But it will be great. And I shared last year that and the album he's doing, he back in the early 90s, he recorded a demo album called Euphoria, and it was just it was before Pro Tools, but it was done on a multi-track recorder. And they never put on vinyl. They did CDs. I don't have a CD, but you can watch some YouTube videos. He hired an engineer in Nashville. I met him last weekend, and he works with Dolly Parton and so forth. They spent the last 9 months remastering those songs. Plus, he had some other songs that he did that weren't ever released that were going to be on it as well. So they've got Robert Fleischman singing, Robert singing on them, and but they brought the sound back up. They were able to take some digital recordings, and I'm not an engineer, but bring them alive from what sounded like home studio recordings. And I think they did some overdubs. Overdubs is when you kind of record different. Joey, you probably know what overdubs are. They did some overdubs to it as well. So it just brought the sound out really, really big, and it sounded great. And I was in Nashville last weekend, and he and John, the engineer, have been working on it, since last summer. And they finished the tapes, and when you finish the tapes, then you send them to a record production company in some type of, I'm not sure, type of file format and stuff. But he'd been working on the whole time, and he wanted to have his friends come and hear it. So we rented a studio in Nashville, and there's like 25 people. There was no tickets being sold. It wasn't a paid event. It was just kind of friends and family, and we played it all, and it sounded great. And I remember I put a couple posts up, and sometimes you put a post up and you get 2 likes and nobody cares. And the next day I look up and there was, hundreds of messages and likes and dislikes and everything as well. And it just reminded me, I think, to your point, is that, there's a lot of opinions about what Vinnie's doing right now. And
right.
Some people are excited about it. Some people are skeptical, and everything in between about it. And I understand, I heard it, we all heard it. And it's going to, if it didn't go this past week, it's going this week to the record production company. Now, that's the whole supply chain issues affects the record industry as well.
Sure.
It's probably going to take 6 months. They say 3 to 4 months, but it's never on time. At least 6 months to come out, I would guess. So I imagine at some point people start saying it's not really ever happening and so forth. But it's done. I've heard it. A lot of us have, and I know there's why doesn't he let people hear it? Why? Well, Vinny, that's not Vinny's style. I mean, you might agree, you might disagree, but he's keeps it quiet. He just keeps it to himself. He doesn't refute when people say things to him. He just says when it's the right time, it'll come out. And I'm not going to go over and answer to naysayers, if you will. So I'll just
Absolutely.
let my music speak for itself.
Well, I know that Brent loves the invasion stuff, and I know that Joey loves the invasion stuff. And to be fair to while I'm having this conversation, I up until just a couple of years ago, I didn't even own any of the invasion stuff. I just started listening. No, I know it's so bad, but anyway, now I know you can't tell me because the only other thing that I'm hearing is people are waiting patiently to find out who's in the band. Now I know you're not ready to tell us that, but eventually, will we find out before? Or will it be a big surprise when we get there and the people are just on stage?
Yeah. Well, and I don't know the answer to that. I think,
Okay.
whenever they do it, they want to get, photos taken and so forth. They don't want just me going, hey, it's Larry and it's Bob and it's Finn.
Gotcha.
We want to do something
Well,
more professional than
Now,
that.
Neil, we can. I can make you an offer you can't refuse. You ever see the scene where there's a horse's head in the bed the next morning?
Yeah.
Don't make me go there, Neil.
Okay.
Give me something.
Okay. All
Come
right.
on. Give
Hey,
me something,
Brent.
Neil.
Brent,
Yeah.
give him your Oscar.
Put it in his
That's
bed
not going to
tomorrow
persuade
morning.
anybody.
No, I'm
Oh,
talking
man.
about Joey. Look at he just did
Oh,
Brando.
with his
No,
performance.
I don't want
There
the
you are.
Oscar. I want to know who's in his band.
Yeah.
Okay, well we'll
So-
know
so
soon.
I'll tell you that it's not Bruce. I mean, it's Nashville's got great musicians. So I mean, so it's a great supporting band. This is Vinnie Vincent's music. It's with a great supporting group of people. It's not named people that Joey that you might have played with and
Gotcha.
so forth.
Well, that's
other bands as well.
something. So it's not something necessarily that guys we might know.
No, it's not like Damn Yankees where you took a bunch of people
Gotcha.
from other bands and put them together.
Okay,
It's
but that's
solid
okay, too.
musicians. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
That's
too.
almost better because
Yeah.
this needs to be about Vinny.
Yeah.
Is there any
absolutely.
chance? Can you break the drummer's legs and possibly get me to gig?
Well,
Possibility?
you never know. So, Joey, what are you doing? I'll see you a week from Saturday in Nashville. So, you can stand outside the parking lot and I'll point out if you're there. I'll point out who the drummer is. So,
I know the guys who did the Tanya Harding incident, so we'll get those guys on.
yeah.
I love that
I'll tell
Joey
you,
immediately
but-
goes the violence road. He
Violence.
doesn't say, "I'll be the
He's
understudy,"
Italian.
or whatever. It's right to breaking legs.
So the one thing about when we talk about the band is you've got a group of people that got to play this music, and you've got Ace playing, you got Bruce, who's amazing, other great bands, pro level musicians. So it's a group of guys that have never played together until recently. And then he was talking the story about, he goes, when we got ready for Creatures at Night, we rented a big facility and practiced for like 2 months on the tank. And he goes, and we wrote the music and we practice. Same thing for Lick It Up. And he goes, we just have to rehearse all the time and just really get tight because there's great bands. People expect it, they want it, and so forth. Well, not everybody can just say, oh yeah, I'm free every weekend. People have jobs and so forth as well.
Right.
So
right.
what took some time was finding people that were not only could play the music, but could, work around the schedule and of being there, of doing this. And it was a lot of the conversations were can you on the weekends, on the evenings, I mean, can you tell if your daughter's got dance recitals coming up, it's probably not the right gig for you because this has got to come first for the next few months for you. And not everybody can make that commitment. So that took some time.
Even going back a step. So same thing with Ace and Peter. Obviously, just having Vinny at Creatures Fest is incredible. It's going to be a great event, signing autographs. For years now, he's been doing, these private events that no one's, unless you were at these small events, have seen him really do his shredding, and obviously nothing with a live band yet. How did this come about? How did you get him to, was it his suggestion? Did you kind of pull it out of him? How did it organically happen?
Well, so I met, let's see here. So the first time I saw Vinny was in 1983 on the Creatures of the Night tour. So didn't know him then, saw him play. I saw him again then in, get the years right, 1998 in Miami when he played at the pre-cruise party and said hello. Our band was playing that event as well. So I was at the sound checks the night before, talked to him for a couple minutes, but that was it. And then a month later, I went to one of the events in Nashville, private events. And at that point, he didn't know who I was. And so I went and played and watched him. And he has a guy that works with him, a guy named Steve Wilkie. He's a great guy. And I had Steven's number because when I went to that, I dealt with him on the details of the event. So a little over the first year, we're in the middle of the pandemic, everybody's sitting at home. There's all these live, these auctions. I don't know if you see these Kiss auctions and I'm a collector, kind of Joe, like you. I've got a lot of stuff. And I said, hey, this looks like fun, and nobody can do anything. We're in the middle of a pandemic. So I said, I'm going to do some of these auctions. So I set up my stuff. I did a couple auctions. And I reached out to literally every member in Kiss and asked them if they would be on my auction. Like, who are you? And I shouldn't say, they were actually, a lot of them very nice. And I got Bruce and Vinnie to be a part of a couple of my auctions. So I had a dialogue with them as well. And we went up there and did some signings. So I back up. I did a signing where Vinnie signed a bunch of stuff. We did an auction that he was on it as well. And just talk to him, and you're in a room with someone for 8 hours signing, just talking and about whatever. And I liked him and he seemed like he liked me, and we stayed in touch a little bit. And he told me about this album project, and I was really excited. Joe, I didn't listen to Vinnie Vincent Invasion back in the day either, so I'm in your camp. So I started listening to him more, and I said, and he's a member of Kiss. I mean, we all might have our favorites, but if you love Kiss, I mean, he was part of Kiss. So I thought, listen, I have a chance to talk to a guy from Kiss. It's pretty cool to me. So we started talking about this album and helping him with that. And then last fall, I had done a couple other Kiss themed events. And I just started talking to him about, what do you want to do in the future? And he said, I'd love to play again under, details. And then I said, I'd love to put on another event. And, I really love Creatures of Night album. I love that tour. It was very memorable to me. And we started talking about it. I said, would you want to play together with the band again? And would you want to do this and do that? And I didn't know what his answers were. And he was very much wanting to do it. And we talked about things that hadn't gone right in the past for whatever reasons. And, how do you avoid those to make sure that this is a successful event for everybody? And I said, well, I've got this idea. It's called Creatures Fest. And, I think it'd be great if you play. And, I've got a person I know here in Florida who's a metal fabricator and a musician. And I talked to him. He said he could replicate the tank that was used in Creatures of Night and Lick It Up tour. And I can't remember. It was just a series of months of conversations where we kind of finally said, so you want to do this? He goes, yeah. I go, do you want to do it? I said, let's do it. And I was actually on Kiss Cruise 10. I was walking around and I took out 500 flyers. I was handing people out, said Creatures Fest coming, spring of 2022. And people were like, what's this and what's this? And it just built from there. So, we started talking to Ace and Bruce and everything as well. But it was like very organic. He wanted to play again. And, he's, I think he's had some things have been planned that didn't work out for whatever reason. And I wasn't a part of any of them. So I think he's a little leery talking to me about it first. So like all the artists, they tell me about how you're going to do this. How are you going to do that? What kind of sound is it going to be? When you say it's a fan-based event, that sounds great because we're fans. As professionals, they're worried, is this going to be a hokey, kind of garage show? So tell us, what type of production are you going to use? Where's it going to be? And so there's a lot of those type of questions. And, at some point, I think he, the other artists came and said, yeah, this sounds like it's going to be a reputable idea. And you've thought it all out. So the conversations were very similar to him, what they were with the other artists. And he just said he wanted to do it. But he didn't have a band was the difference. So, some of you might know this and watching him. I'm a closet musician myself. I'm in a Kiss tribute band. So I know a lot of musicians and across the Southeast and kind of musicians, kind of know musicians or know of musicians. So I said, you want me to try to reach out and find some different people to talk to? And he talked to a few different people, and they weren't always good fits. Like I talked about scheduling wise and can you make those commitments? And, it just, took months and months, and then kind of all the checks box ultimately got it checked, and he, like everybody else, signed on. And he's very excited about it. And again, I saw him again last weekend, and he's excited about it. And I hear and see and read comments about it all. And I'm a big believer that everybody's entitled to their opinion, so I never argue with anybody online. But I know he's planning to be there, and he's rehearsing, put a lot of time into it, and unless he's in a car wreck and is in the hospital or something like that, he's gonna. I shouldn't even say that because he's
Knock
gonna
on wood, right?
be
Knock
there.
on
be there.
He'll
He's
be
gonna
there.
be
I'll
there.
knock.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we move on from the news, there's two more things. One, you said you had something about Australia.
Yeah, and you're gonna like this too, Joe, because when you saw Peter Criss, he played with a band called Sister Dolls out of Australia.
Right.
And that was his band in Australia. He played with as well. When Bruce Kulick did his tour of Australia, Sister's Doll was his band. And this is the first time I've announced that Sister's Dolls is coming to Creatures Fest and is going to perform.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're really excited about it. And some people know them, some people don't. They're a really cool band. They're all three brothers and young guys. Great musicians, really. I Zoom called with them as well. Just great, you hate to say it like young. I mean, they're in their 20s, so it feels young.
Right.
For us and stuff. But they're so excited about this, and Peter's played. It's Peter's band, so I'm not giving a hint, but I mean it's Peter's band. It's going to be there. So you read into that whatever you want to read into it. I'm not saying anything.
That is actually a great question, Neil. Is Peter planning to play with Ace's band during this thing, or is it going to be maybe Sister's Doll? Do we know?
Yeah. No. Well, I've already announced, Joey, that he is playing with Ace.
Okay.
So Ace is playing Friday night, and Peter's going to join him for 1, 2, 3 songs, and I'm not sure how many, and I don't know what they are right now. But he's definitely they spoke week before last on the phone, and they both said let's do it, and they were excited about it. And it's interesting because they told me hey, it's all worked out, we're going to do it and stuff like that. That's great. And then I was talking to some other friends, we all have mutual friends. They said, do you know how excited Peter and Ace are to play about this? I go, oh yeah, we are. And I go, I hope so. That sounds really great. But again, it kind of gets to my hairs on my arms standing up to hear that this isn't a job, and I'm not paying them to play together. They are doing that. They're making money on meet and greets. How they make a living. They're doing that for us, and I say that just because it's really important for us to know why this is happening.
Right. So important. The most important thing you said exactly right, Neil. It's amazing that they're going the extra mile. Even Vinnie. He could have done his own event and put this on himself and did his first appearance with a live band by himself. But he's giving this all to be all encompassing in this one event, which you're putting on. Incredible job, Neil. I applaud you.
Thank
you.
Absolutely. Truly, Neil. And, Joey's made such a big point of that it's for the fans, and you've made that a reality, and that's connected with all the artists who are coming. And he knows, because he's been on the artist side of that. As someone who's been on the inside of a ton of events as well, I'll tell you what I'm hearing that's as important as anything else you've said is you're asking the question of what don't you want and what went wrong before that we need to make sure doesn't happen here. That's the smartest thing you've said, Neil, because so many people only want to talk about, well, I want to do this and this is how it's going to be, and don't avoid those mistakes. And once you have that covered and know those things aren't going to happen, you're paving the way for a brilliant show for everybody. So thank you. For sure.
I mean, I hope so. We've been painstakingly going through making sure we don't jump to conclude, because you got to listen, so it's exciting to do all this stuff, but hey, tell us what you want to do, what concerns you. Let's talk about that. What don't you want to do? What troubles you, so, and you flesh all those things out. And if that, I think if nothing else, I've done that reasonably well.
Absolutely. Okay. So you guys know, you go to Creatures Fest. It's creaturesfest.com. Pick up your tickets now. I'm sure there can't be many left.
Yeah. Well, with the Ace ones just sold out today, the individual meet and greets. The event is probably, I think we're about 80% of the tickets. It's interesting with an event, a facility like this, there's not seats. So it's like, how many people, it's not like you say the last seat's gone. And I'm I'm looking forward to a life of not having to talk about COVID all the time, and it feels better than it has as well. But it's not my intent to shove as many people in there as possible. So,
Right.
I think about 80% capacity is 100% capacity for an event like this. So we're probably at 80% of 80%. And, kind of the way the ticket sales go, I think we'll probably stop them in about a month.
Gotcha. Okay, so thank you for that. Hang out. We're going to talk about Destroyer in our topic of the week. But before we do that, I released a special episode on YouTube this week, midweek, where I did an interview with one of the designers of the new cold gin bottle. And they're from Drink It Up by Kiss USA. They sent me a nice package in the mail.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And unfortunately I don't drink, but fortunately it comes in a very, that was Joey. And it comes in a beautiful packaging, and it was a thank you card and everything. And I want to thank them. You guys need to check this out. I'm going to tell you why. So if you watch, there are a whole bunch of little hidden things. I can't get it out of the light. Anyway, on the bottle, there's all kinds of little stuff. The clock, if you haven't watched the episode yet, he explains the clock, but he wouldn't tell me. He said you have to have the bottle to look for all the Easter eggs, but the clock is set at so anyway, it's basically the address 10 East 23rd. So it's set at 1023, and instead of a 3, there's an E. And so that is one of the Easter eggs on the bottle. And let me tell you, in a million years, if they told me to design this bottle, I'd have never come up with that.
It's cool.
Now, Joe, I believe in my contract it says we split everything 4 ways on PRC. So you're going to have to pass that around like the Oscar. We'll pass it around.
Yes.
We'll get a month with it each.
Yeah, I'll be there in a couple weeks to take my swig, so no problem.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're coming. Yeah, we'll open it. I don't know why not.
Hey, Joe, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, Joe, you played with Chris Jericho?
Joey does. Yeah.
I just did his cruise. Yeah.
Yeah, he's performing at Creatures Fest.
Yes, I know all about that quarantine ban. That son of a bitch. He cut me out of it, and I'll never forgive him for it. I'll never forgive you, Chris Jericho. If you're watching, you son of a bitch, I'll never forgive you. He knows all about it.
Thanks, Neil. See what you just did.
Oh my God! Now all the bad.
Yeah.
No.
I have my tomatoes ready for him and his band. I'm gonna be front row.
So I know Joey is doing his best to come.
Yes,
It's not guaranteed yet, but I know that you're doing your best. And if I had to imagine, if Joey shows up, I would imagine that somehow he finagles his way to play some drums. That would be amazing.
Well, Joey, one thing we're working on is this kind of idea of like kind of I call it an all-star jam band in a sense. And that's where you take different musicians to come up and play songs. It doesn't have to be Kiss music. And it's not a new idea. I didn't come up with it. But I remember on the Kiss cruise this past year when Sebastian Bach wasn't there, they filled that gap by having a jam band where they had all the music come out. And it was organic and it was really, really good. And it made me say that was so much energy. And if you were on the cruise, you certainly say that was one. I think most people say it was one of the memorable parts of it all. So I've been talking to some other musicians about doing some jams like that as well. So if you want to come, I can get you up for one of the songs for the jam for the All-Star.
Dude, absolutely. If I'm there, I'm 100%. And the guys from Togrther I play with Eric Martin.
Yeah,
I'm hoping to jump up with them, possibly do something with them quick too. And if I'm there, dude, anything you need me to do, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, well, Togrther's playing Sunday, and some of the guys are with obviously quarantine the day before. And what's cool, I'll tell you, it's because something had to do with the Togrther guys. Remind me this is, as a band, often you'll say, okay, I'm playing on Saturday, I'll fly in Friday night, play Saturday, then I'm leaving Sunday morning. All the bands are calling and saying, we want to come in Thursday and stay till Monday.
Of course.
It's like, hey, will you give us more rooms and we'll do more stuff? Just because we want to see everything. And at first I'm going, what? I'm going, that's cool. And I was actually, you're going to ask me who, I can't tell you. I was talking to today, which you'd probably call an A-level rock star. It's not Gene and Paul, but it's A-level about something we're working on the Creatures Fest. And I said to this person, originally what happened was a person associated with it reached out to me and said, this person would like to come and watch, but is there an artist section because this person doesn't want to stand in the crowd because this person will get, mobbed. And I said, well, absolutely there will be. But if this person wants to come, we'd love to have a conversation about them doing something. So we had that conversation today. And I said something to him about, it's really cool that all the artists that I'm talking to are really interested in not just fans, but artists coming. He goes, Neil, everybody's talking about this. He goes, everybody, when I'm doing shit, everyone's talking about this, that anybody that was influenced, cares about Kiss, an artist and so forth, is wants to see these other artists, wants to see Ace and Peter and do these other things.
I will tell you, I'm on text threads all day with a lot of the people that are performing at the event, Jericho included, the Trickster guys. Everyone is so excited about, they want to play, but they really don't care about playing. They want to come to the event and experience the event and, we're all giant Kiss fans. That's why we want to be there. Playing the event and getting paid for it, that's an extra.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Joe, I wasn't actually offering you to pay you, by the way. I was just saying.
No. I get paid in meatballs. So if you have meatballs.
Yeah. Joe, I vote that Neil is on the show every week now.
Yeah.
What do you say?
That's pretty awesome. All right. So we've got a little topic of the week that includes the album Destroyer. So let's get to the topic of the week.
Podcast Rock City. Topic of the week.
So I guess this past week was the anniversary of Destroyer coming out. And last week when we were on the show, I believe somebody or all of us basically brought up, the question, was Destroyer as great as everybody made it out to be? And that's why every time they release a record, it's the new Destroyer, and it's going to be this. And I posted it on Facebook. First of all, I want to mention Jeff Trott's been doing some work for us here, and I want to thank him. And after we're done here, he's got an auction over on a Kiss Live auction. So go over there and buy some stuff. And the reaction was all over the place as far as is this album as great as they say it is. Now, before we talk about it, I want to point this out. This is the Rolling Stone magazine, March 25th, 1976. So the week the record. Look at Joey. What, Joey?
How do you have that hour? How do you have that?
Okay, so I want you to see this. Now, you guys that are just listening, I'm sorry, I'll post the picture of the article. It's this in like one little corner page, right? And it's talking about, Destroyers coming out, and it's talking about the band. It even describes Ace as Ace Frehley, a self-described crazy kid from the Bronx, a rebel, always in trouble with the cops. I love that. Okay, so this is important why I'm showing you this. This is 1.5 pages. 1 year later, this is the layout. Okay? And it's 5 pages. Okay? It's this, which I will post all this on our Facebook page so you guys can check it out. And it's another page. Now, we know Rolling Stone doesn't like Kiss. They tried to keep them out of the Hall of Fame. Or at least that's the story. I don't know if that's true. I believe it is, though. So that right there speaks volume about how well the record did, and how popular the band was. And we looked it up, Brent. That second issue came out with Kiss right before, in between, what was it? Love Gun
was like 6 weeks away from coming out when that's 5-page spread. So like just almost right at the peak of Super Kiss.
So this is what we're going to do. I want to ask, let's go with Neil first. Neil, when you when you hear all the hype about Destroyer and they talk about how great this album and how amazing this album is, do you agree with that, or is it good? Do you agree with that?
Well, Destroyer was a bust at first. It came on. It was a late blooming album. But the simple answer to your question is, I think yes, for a variety of reasons. I think the music's great. I saw someone comment that Destroyer was great except for one dud. I'm assuming he's going to say Great Expectations. But I thought it was a great album. I bought it when it came out. So I was listening to it then. But not only the music, but that's when the image, they became, I think we're talking about a super band. The image, your logo when you came in showed Gene's dragon boots. That was Destroyer came out. You showed the Destroyer, the image of them walking. I mean, everything we think about Kiss, Destroyer is embedded in so much about the Kiss. Everything we think about Kiss. The cover's iconic. If they put it on my tombstone, I'd be fine with that. So is it great?
Don't give Gene any ideas.
Yeah, right. It's great, but for a lot of reasons, because it kind of everything about Kiss. I mean, we were saying before the pot we started, I probably would pick Rock and Roll over that album is Destroyer, as far as if I could listen to it every day. But I think this Destroyer is what set up Kiss to be still doing what they're doing, in 2022.
Absolutely. Joey?
Yeah, I mean, listen, Destroyer is iconic. Of course, I'm a personal fan of the Love Gun album cover this much more, and the only reason is the Ace pose, whatever. I don't know who gave Ace this weird freaking pose on
Isn't
the
he
cover.
going like this or something?
But the other hand, he's like, right? I mean, if Ace, I think I saw an original concept where Ace is a little cooler looking on the cover. The Love Gun cover, they just look a little meaner. Ace gives a little bit of the goofiness on Destroyer, but the album is iconic. I know the songs are overplayed. Everyone has heard them a million times. Every time we hear them live, more than half of the record is probably in the live set. So the album is, to us Kiss fans, 40, almost 50 years later, of course it's outdated and it's played. It's too overly played, but you can't argue that Destroyer is not iconic. Just the songs alone, the album cover, the costumes, the imagery, everything about it is what started the run of Super Kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Brent.
Well, while Destroyer is not always my favorite Kiss record, I think it's hard to deny, not from the diehard Kiss angle, but from just your average rock fan angle, that this is their best record. To people who just like Kiss is just another band they like, always this is their favorite album. And there's a reason for that, and Neil hinted at that it was a slow starter, but I think a little bit of that is in hindsight. In truth, I think in Sweet certified gold. Gold didn't mean as much back then as it does now, but still a gold record is not bad, but it wasn't the double platinum sensation it would become until later when the Beth single, or I guess the Beth B-side, started getting radio play, and that became such a sensation. But look, to me, when this is just my opinion, when Sweet Pain is the worst song on the album, you've got an amazing album. A lot of people would say, are you kidding? That's far from the worst song. What about Great Expectations and all those other weird songs? I love those weird songs. I love, Kiss doesn't seem like a band that would do well when you ask them to stretch, and somehow with Destroyer, they did it and became amazing.
Okay, so here's my take on it, because I think for me, what makes it great is the sound. If you listen to those first three records, they are very thin to me. They don't have that very thick sound that was Destroyer. And pretty much every record that came after that, it's like they had to have Ezrin in there to not only take these guys that were always, and I'm going to say it like this because I disagree with it, but at finger quotes in the airs, barely musicians, barely good music. You know what I mean? That you'll hear that about them. it's all show. They can't really play, but which is BS. But he took, and just like the right coach, he went, found a team, and pulled everything out of them that he knew he could, and pulled stuff out of them they didn't know that they could do. I'm sure, and then used his own ideas to make it even bigger. And when you listen to that record, when you drop that needle and you hear the story that's going on, because it is a story. And some people argue that this is a concept record, and I can't argue with that, because if you listen to it, it's almost like one. But there, you're caught. You're grabbed. You want to know what's going on. And I remember the first time I ever heard this, and the I just was like, what's going on? This guy's like a monster, because you can't hear what he's saying. Oh, or like Frankenstein was driving the car or something. And you hear, and even now when I turn it on, I'm like looking at my son and going, you know what that noise is? He's pumping the gas. You're not going to get that anymore on a record, because that's how he started the car. And, nowadays it's bing, bong, ding, dong. Can you imagine the Kiss record with that at the beginning? Your lights are on. Yes, I know. Hey, and but the sound, and then how Detroit Rock City blends in with the next song, and then the next song, and then the next song, and then you can't skip Beth because it's on vinyl, so you have to listen to it. And that's that's why I'm so over Beth. But I love it. But it really is a great album, and I probably could listen to it every day. Now, I will tell you that I did see Eddie Trunk posted, I guess he listened to the Blu-ray on the right kind of stereo, which I don't think I have, but he said if you listen to it on the right kind of equipment, it's one of the most amazing things. Brent, have you done this?
I have it, but I haven't listened to it yet, so...
Then do you have the right kind of equipment?
I do at the ranch. So next time I'm out there, man, I'm just going to turn the lights out and crank it.
Awesome. And my understanding is in the picture, it looked like he put it in a DVD player, because that's how you have to play it, right?
Well, it's in 5.1, yeah.
Okay.
So
and then I guess on the TV was the Destroyer album cover. I guess it's built into the DVD, which is amazing. Neil, have you listened to this yet?
No, and I don't have the right stereo for it, but I thought myself, how do I find the right stereo to listen to it? Because I would, without hearing it, I know that you're right, what you're saying right now with Bob Ezrin, what they're doing and what they were trying to accomplish. That, Back in Black has talked about the ultimate wall of sound. I think Destroyer would be another one with the right stereo system.
Joey, when you think of this record, do you have, I have a time and a place where I was the first time I heard this. Do you have something like that as well?
Not so much on Destroyer. Again, I started, I saw Kiss on the Dynasty tour as well. First time I was 5 years old. So I kind of went backwards from there. That was my jump on point. So I don't really remember the first time that I heard Destroyer, because I think my first introduction to most of that stuff was Alive 2. So Alive 2 was really my full jump on point. But I definitely remember putting Destroyer on, and, the whole car crash and all that stuff, just being mesmerized by the whole thing. And again, same as every one of us as a kid, staring at that cover for hours and hours at a time. Just, you can get sucked into that album very, very quickly. And I don't want people to forget how masterful it really is. And again, I know it's because we've heard these songs 10 million times, but, a song like Detroit Rock City, you said Ezrin. I think Destroyer could have been really great with Eddie Kramer as well. But the little stuff that Ezrin did was not only the production stuff, was the songwriting that he helped, put along in Destroyer, which, he wrote the solo for Detroit Rock City, all the orchestration for Beth. So all of that stuff is all the Ezrin stuff that people don't even realize that it's him. People just think of the production, but imagine Detroit Rock City without that solo. Oh my God, it's a different song.
Yep.
Yeah. Brent, do you remember the first time you heard uh-oh, there's a fight. I got my money on the pit bull.
Yes.
You remember the first time you heard it?
Yeah, I was 10 when it came out, and took my it came out like the week after my birthday, and took some of my birthday money and went out and bought some comics, and bought the album. And it was I had a live and Dress to Kill already, so I expected something, but it was, I was young enough. I didn't know enough about, like, oh, I'm gonna, to know I'm gonna get this. I didn't know what I was gonna get. And of course, just looking at the album cover, the fact that I was buying comic books the same day tells you, like, it fed right into exactly where my mind was, seeing that painting, and just everything Ken Kelly did to bring that side of Kiss alive visually. And then you drop the needle, and I'm not taking any credit away from the four of them, but everything Bob Ezrin did to bring Kiss alive, sonically. And I think, I'm just going to use the word balls. I mean, the guy had such a strong opinion about what he knew he could do with the band, and what they told him they wanted him to do with the band. He was powerful enough to say, when you guys aren't giving me everything I need, I'm going to have you step aside and bring in my own guy to put parts into this record. And again, that's not taking anything away from Kiss. That's just saying this guy was like, I'm going to craft the record, it's not going to go up to 10, it's going to go up to 11. And if you can't take it there, I'm going to get someone who can. And
Absolutely.
and so it's why it's a legend that we're still talking about 46 years later.
Right. And I remember where I was. I was actually here in Georgia visiting at Easter time. I guess, I don't know if it was a spring break thing or whatever. And I was at my cousin Rick's house, and I had no idea that he even liked Kiss, but I loved Kiss. He had the Cubes poster on the wall. I had never even seen that. And he said, "Hey, have you heard the new Kiss record?" And I was like, "No, I had no idea." Unfortunately, we didn't have a lot of money, so I, had no idea. And he put it on. It was on one of those big units where you lift the lid, and then there's a record player and an 8-track player and a radio, and I just didn't know what was happening. I was so blown away by this, looking at the record. They looked different than what I was used to, how they were looking. And that a couple days later was Easter, and I woke up, and in the living room was an Easter basket, and in that Easter basket was a Cubes poster for me that the Easter Bunny brought. And I still have it. It's on the wall right here. I have it signed by every member. It's not in the best condition, but I don't care, because it's such a prized possession for me. It has so many memories of my mother and my father and my family, and hearing that record. And it's really amazing that something like music ties our lives together. Movies too, I think. But for me, it's a lot of music. I think for everybody, it's music. And Destroyer is definitely one of those things where I'm like, man, I can close my eyes, and the crazy thing is that I remember like what we listened to after, and I remember being freaked out by God of Thunder. It's like, what is happening? So let me ask you guys this, because I know we're running long, but I want to ask you this: when you found out that there was an original album cover to this, and you saw it, did it just like floor you, Joey?
No, I mean, I had seen this. That album cover does nothing for me. The original, the blue one with the new outfits, that's the one I want to see. That old one means nothing to me. That's not Destroyer. That's like a concept before it really came out. I don't care about stuff like that.
Brent.
Yeah, it was years and years later that I heard about that, and I was anxious to see it. In the second, it's kind of like, oh, well, let's hear the song with the Ace solo instead of the Dick Wagner solo. You hear it once and you go, okay, that's fine. No slam on Ace. You guys know how much I worship the guy, but like, you're like, that's not the song I know and love. So, one time and then it goes on the shelf. Same with that Destroyer art.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Neil, you saw the album cover for the first time you were like when they re-released it, or?
Well, I saw it the first time I was 11 in 76.
Wow.
And then, yeah, you're talking about the Resurrection one. I thought it was cool to look at it because I like to look at all stuff, but Destroyer is ingrained in my brain. And I don't think there's a version that you could show me that I would like any better, even if it is better, just because it's just too much part of my DNA at this point.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And Joe, you had said that this is the album that they're always referring back to, that they're always, whenever they release anything, oh, now we're going to do vinyl. Let's put Destroyer on red vinyl. Let's do this. It's always Destroyer. And there's a reason for that. But I'll also say all the remastered, resurrected, 45th anniversary box set, it's all nice. I have it all. It's all on the shelf. I just go back to the regular album and original CD and play those because that's what my ears are used to, and I absolutely love them.
Absolutely. You guys out there that are listening and watching, we really appreciate you being here. There's a whole bunch happening in the Kiss world. Kiss isn't even on tour right now. We still have, I guess, another month and a half or 2 months before they're even getting back out on the road, and that is going to be a very exciting time. They're going overseas. So you guys that listen overseas, I would love your pictures and videos when they do that. And I would also tell you guys you can always send us emails. Podcast Rock City 1.
That's the number one.
Oh, you both did it. Yeah, so at gmail.com. Podcast Rock City 1, the number 1 at gmail.com. We also have a Patreon. Patreon.com /podcast Rock City, and we do a show after the show, and you guys can come and check that out. Go and look. And we this past week did another bonus show with the guys, with all of our not everybody could make it, but some of our top Patreon people did a show with us, and we did a Sweet 16, and it was a lot of fun. And if you guys want the opportunity to be on the show with us and do a game or pick a topic, we'll let you pick the topic, and then we can all BS about it like friends do. Just go to the Patreon and check that out. Neil, thank you very much for coming on again, buddy.
It was great seeing you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I want you to know that, we know what you're doing here. We know that this isn't a money-making venture, and this is, and so we support you. Okay. I want you to know that because this isn't some grand plan to make $1 million. This is Neil's plan to see the things Neil really would love to see, and to make sure that we as Kiss fans get to see them. And we want you to know that as far as making sure as many people as that listen to our show as do, we want them all to know that they have the opportunity to come. And I know that not everybody can, but if you can make it, do your best. And I'm sure that if you're overseas and you can't see it, somehow somebody will be posting something online, just like they do on the Kiss Cruises. Maybe it's not always the greatest, but still being able to see it is amazing. And once again, we thank you. This is one of those things. It's like, it's almost like, you're a single guy, and Neil's introduced us to this great hot girlfriend, and for some reason she likes us. It's like, thank you, Neil. Thank you. You're awesome. We love you.
Well, Joe, everybody plays a part. Thank you for the nice comments. I do appreciate it. But you guys are doing your podcast. You're talking about Kiss live auctions. I mean, Kiss fans, we're all in this. We're all doing things. We go to events, and we all play a role in making things happen. And this is the role that I ended up playing. But it only works because all of us care about this stuff, and we get online and talk about these things, and we go to different events, and it's just the natural creation of everything what we're all doing together.
Absolutely. And there's one last question. Heavy Mayo asks, is Destroyer Resurrected the original cover? I don't think so. I had to. My brain is like, it's not. I think it's
What
Yeah,
do you
it
mean?
is.
It's Destroyer Resurrected is the original cover. Is the original concept cover.
Right,
With
right,
the-
right.
with the
Okay,
alive,
that's what I'm
with
talking
the
about.
alive costumes. Yes.
The live costumes, yes. It's not the blue cover. It's more
Right.
of a very fiery cover.
Kind of
uh,
red
right.
brown. Yeah.
Yeah, like a red brown. So it is the original. Anyway,
Joe, I would love.
yeah.
You know, what we got to do. We got to do. When you mentioned, Kiss is going back on the road in a month. I would love to do a poll with Neil's blessing on one of our sites. If you had a choice, and I can't even imagine someone picking option B. If you guys had a choice right now as Kiss fans
Oh,
to
no.
go to see Kiss End of the Road show or Creatures Fest, where are you going?
All right, I'm
Kiss-
going to put that. I'm
put it up
putting that
there.
on the thing. I'm going to put it on the thing because the truth is that at this point, I've just
There's
seen
no
it so-
choice. How are
Yes,
you
that's-
going to? No
okay.
choice.
Go
You
to
gotta
both
go
of them. That's the answer. Go to both of them.
No, that's
Very
good too.
diplomatic of you, Neil. Very diplomatic.
Absolutely, and if you can go to both of them, well, damn, you're lucky. But I'm going to be driving to Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm going to hang out and maybe even be buying Neil a drink. I may even bring my cold gin and just,
Well,
all right, I don't drink. Let's have a drink and celebrate this creation
Yes.
that he's created. Joey, do you have anything to add?
Yes, if you can only go to one, go to Neil's. I don't have to be diplomatic, Neil. I'll promote you all day long.
There you
Go
go.
to Creatures Fest. It's going to be insane. We're going to be there. PRC. Hopefully, I'm going to be there, and we'll hang out. We're going to see a lot of people. It's going to be a great time.
It's going to be amazing. Brent.
Two